Everyone wants me to forgive my SIL for what she said about my dead daughter. They don't know what she whispered at the funeral. My wife and I lost our youngest daughter 4 months ago. She was 6. There's nothing I can say to make you understand what that does to a person, so I won't try. What I will say is that my sister-in-law Deborah made it infinitely worse. My brother Kyle and I have always been close, but Deborah has had some kind of grudge against my wife since the day they met. Little comments here and there about how we spoil our kids, how our son being a chess prodigy at 10 is unnatural, how our daughters dress too grown for their age. My wife ignored it. I ignored it. Kyle always brushed it off, saying Deborah was just hormonal because she's been pregnant twice in the last 3 years. That excuse stopped working for me at their pool party last month. It was supposed to be a good day. Our therapist said getting the kids around family might help with the grief. My parents were there, my aunts and uncles, cousins I hadn't seen in years, everyone treating us gently, speaking softly, which we appreciated more than they knew. Deborah didn't say a word to us for the first 2 hours, which I thought was her version of being respectful. Then the kids started acting up. My nephew and a few of the older ones pushed me into the pool while I was standing near the edge. I laughed it off, kids being kids. But then they grabbed my wife's bag off the patio chair and threw it into the deep end, and when I fished it out, her phone screen was completely shattered. I gathered the kids, all of them including my nephews, and calmly explained why that kind of prank wasn't okay. I wasn't yelling, I wasn't being aggressive, I was just parenting. Deborah came storming across the patio and told me I had absolutely no right to discipline her children. My wife, still shaken from everything we'd been through, quietly said the kids needed to understand that actions have consequences. Deborah's face twisted into something ugly, and she said, maybe if you understood consequences, your daughter would still be alive. The entire backyard went dead silent. My wife's knees buckled and my mother had to catch her before she hit the ground. I stood frozen, watching Deborah's expression shift from rage to slow realization of what had just come out of her mouth. Kyle grabbed her arm and pulled her inside. I didn't follow. I took my wife and kids and left without saying goodbye. I didn't speak to a single family member for a week. Then the messages started. My mother called and said Deborah was struggling with her pregnancy hormones and that I needed to be the bigger person for the sake of family unity. My aunt sent a long paragraph about how grief affects everyone differently and that I should extend grace. Kyle texted me 4 times saying Deborah didn't mean it, that she cried for hours after, and that she desperately wanted to apologize. I didn't respond to any of them. 2 weeks later, Kyle showed up at my door with Deborah behind him, looking like a child dragged to the principal's office. He asked if they could come inside. I let them. Deborah sat on my couch and delivered a tearful apology about how stressed she's been with the pregnancy, how she didn't mean what she said, how she's been battling depression and doesn't understand why she lashes out at people she loves. She said she wanted nothing more than my forgiveness, so our families could heal. My wife wasn't home. She had taken the kids to her mother's house. It was just me and them. I let Deborah finish every word of her rehearsed speech. Then I looked at Kyle and asked, do you remember what you said to me the night we found out Emily didn't make it? He looked confused. I reminded him. He had held me in the hospital hallway and told me, whatever you and your wife need, I'm here. I don't care what it costs me. You're my brother. I asked him if he meant it. He said, of course. I looked at Deborah and told her I would never forgive her. Not today, not next year, not ever. I told her my daughter's name would never come out of her mouth again. And if I ever heard she mentioned Emily to anyone in the family for any reason, I would tell everyone at the next gathering what she whispered to my wife at the funeral. Kyle's face went white. Deborah's eyes went wide and nothing came out of her mouth. See, what nobody knows is that Deborah pulled my wife aside during the reception after we buried our baby. She waited until my wife was alone near the bathroom and leaned in close. My wife told me what Deborah said that night through sobs so violent I thought she would collapse. She begged me not to start a war while we were still raw, so I kept it to myself. 4 months without a word. Kyle stared at his wife like he was seeing a stranger. He asked what I was talking about. He asked what Deborah said at the funeral. Deborah started shaking her head, tears running down her face, begging me not to say it. I looked at my brother, the man who had been my best friend for 32 years, and I told him exactly what his wife whispered to mine while our 6-year-old daughter lay in a casket 20 feet away. Full story linked below.